but I'm really excited about this book that I've written about William Cooper. It's called Gentle Warrior, Standing Up for Aborigines and Persecuted Jews. And William Cooper lived from 1860 through to 1941 and was really one of the pioneers in this nation of the Aboriginal movement for the rights of his people. He actually used the word uplift rather than rights, but he was a very dignified Christian gentleman of wonderful character, but a real pioneer and groundbreaker in this nation. So I was inspired by his story to write this book. He was actually the founder of National Aboriginal and Islander Week, which we know as NAIDOC, and he also had a petition to the King of England, George V, and later on George VI, and that was to have an Aboriginal person in Parliament and various other representations for Aboriginal people in this nation. However, the Australian government did not send that over to the King of England, the reason being that Aboriginal people were not citizens in their own land, which was absolutely amazing. And he was someone who really persevered despite all the setbacks, but the fact that he couldn't send this petition to England, that set off in train a couple of things. One of those was a day of mourning in Sydney on Australia Day in 1938, and that was the 150th anniversary of white settlement in Australia. And at that particular time, the Aboriginal people had their own meeting and worked out a 10-point plan for the nation. They weren't happy that there was a reenactment of the First Fleet arriving, and some Aboriginal people were trucked in from Malindi to run away from the fleet. And so they wanted a more dignified recognition of Aboriginal people in this nation. And William was someone who spent a lot of time writing letters and also meeting prime ministers, including Prime Minister Lyons, various other members of Parliament. The other thing that came out of the petition not being sent through to England was the fight for the referendum that we all know now as the 1967 referendum changes to the Constitution of Australia, so that Aboriginal people would no longer be considered flora and fauna, which is quite an amazing thing. And we know that one of those people, Pastor Sir Doug Nichols, William's nephew, who he mentored, was one of the key ones to carry on that fight. In fact, when I became involved much later in Aboriginal affairs in the nation, I found that Aboriginal people were working for the same issues that William worked for back in the 1930s. And so he really set a platform for Aboriginal people in the nation to work on through the years. In 2002, I found out that there was also a Jewish connection, in that William was a very international person who stood up for persecuted people in other nations as well, including he found out about the Kristallnacht, the Night of the Broken Glass in Germany and Austria, when many synagogues, Jewish businesses and homes were destroyed either by breaking the glass or by fires. And being someone who had a very humanitarian heart and a sense of social justice, he and the Australian Aboriginal League that he was secretary of, they got a petition going, and they walked from his home in Footscray to the German consulate in Melbourne here and launched that protest. The petition was not received by the German consulate, but one of the things that we're looking at doing is the book will be launched in Melbourne on December the 6th, which will be the anniversary of that walk in 1938, and William Cooper's grandson, Uncle Boydie or Alf Turner, we are hoping that he will be able to present that petition, and this time that it would be received. So that could be quite an exciting event. and then we'll go on to a launch in Sydney, and that will be on December the 9th, which is the first day of Hanukkah, and that will be at the Jewish Holocaust Museum in Sydney. So I'm really excited, and the family of William Cooper are also excited about it, and I think it's going to be quite a groundbreaking book because it does look into a lot of the history of the Aboriginal movement in Australia, and I actually bring it right up to the present day and comment on present events and follow them through right to today.